Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. It's Joanna. These are going to be your messages for the month of December 2018. I'm going to make this very quick because I myself don't like long intros. Please remember that these are general messages. My intent is to give you something to think about, something to look at from a different perspective in order to help you gain clarity and ultimately that you can become a more empowered you. So rather than focusing on predictions, I am focusing on what may come up for you in the month of December and how some of these situations will allow you to see certain things and perhaps to create certain things for yourself that you have not been able to before. So I always intend on giving you as much information as I can in order to help you evolve. And how you take that information and how you apply it, or if you even consider it, that is entirely up to you. What I would encourage you to do is to listen to it at the end of the month, because these messages are really limitless or timeless. There is really the principles that I ask to give can be applied to really any sign in any situation. So it is important for you to listen with an open heart and an open mind and see how it can help you. Of course, listening to the other signs may offer you more guidance, and above all, don't take anything that I say as gospel. Listen with your heart and allow yourself to feel whether it resonates with you or not. Sometimes I will say things that may trigger you. If that happens, it's a good indication that something inside of you is wanting to say something. So I'm just going to leave it as is. Also, if you are interested in a Uranus projections, it's a 7-month projection. That information is down below on the Vimeo page. And let me see if there's anything else. Thank you, of course, always for watching, for sharing, for subscribing, and for private sessions, if that is what you wish. That information is down below. Thank you again so much. Have yourself a wonderful holiday season if you are practicing it or if you are celebrating it. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye. Hello, beautiful Sagittarians. These are going to be your messages for the month of December 2018. I'm just tuning into your energies. I have a question that's flowing out, and the question to you is, do you like yourself more than you did before? And another question is, do you like yourself more before this happened? And depending on what your answer is, it's almost like by asking yourself this question, you will be able to find the solution you're looking for. And it feels to me very much like I'm speaking to those of you who feel stuck in a familiar territory, in a familiar place, in a familiar situation with a familiar person. And whatever that is for you, I feel like that relationship stems from neediness. And it's interesting where they're taking me with this. Neediness could be you needing someone in order to be happy or to live. Somebody really needing you, so you're the one who is constantly giving. It's to do with stability and also control. So I'm not going to over exemplify this question because it's meant to be for you. But that's a very interesting way to start. It's time to begin to ask yourself some pretty hard questions in order to arrive at your facts. Some of you are looking for answers to your questions, but you are choosing to look elsewhere other than where the questions are, and that is inside of yourself. I feel like this is for those of you who are looking for a way out of a situation, and perhaps you don't know how, whether it is a physical way out or you're just wanting not to deal with something any longer. There's a need for some of you to be elsewhere other than where you are right now. And the word stuck is being shown to me very clearly. I'm seeing the wheel, which symbolizes to me the ever-changing wheel of life. Things come and things go. But it represents to me a movement forward. In other words, there is an indication here that some of you are reaching an end of a road, an end of a cycle, and that's actually shown in the cards as well. The proverbial, crossroad and decisions that come with it. So it is important for you to know where you stand first before you make a judgment of where you want to go next. Now, I'm asking them, why is it so important to know? And the answer I get is, it is responsibility to self that one is always after. So if we are trying to solve our needs, looking for someone to do it for us, we're never going to be able to arrive at that destination because it doesn't exist. So I hope that this is going to open itself up once I start getting more into the messages here. But I feel this is for a lot of you who are either going through a closure, need closure, are looking for closure. It feels very much that way. August is being shown to me for some reason, which is the 8th month. Perhaps some of you connect with the month of August. I don't believe that's when your birthdays are. Sagittarius, no, definitely not. So somehow August is coming up. Also, the number 27 could be August 27, or the number 27 somehow is important. All right, let's move on with the cards. What is the overall message, or what is the overarching energy for you in the month of December, or what is it good for you to know? So what's coming up is you have the card of listening in reverse. There are several messages here. I feel like some of you are not being heard. Perhaps you have never been heard, or perhaps you feel you have never been heard. And for some reason, I'm being asked to say that some of you may have control issues because of that, either not being heard or not wanting to hear. Some of you are not wanting to hear what is very obvious, because you want things your way and you're not willing to see a situation for what it is, and you're just trying to keep doing different things and nothing seems to be working. And the problem is that I see, whoever you are, you're looking away from what the problem is and you're trying to look over there where you need to look inside of yourself for the solution to your problem. I feel some of you are running around like crazy, trying to figure everything out. I feel like there is many of you who are running like the proverbial chickens with no heads, and you're very busy taking care of everybody else. I also feel it has to do with control. Perhaps you feel you need to be in control, and that gives you the drive to needing to always be doing something or making sure you're doing it because you do it the best. That's a control thing. And if that's the case, you're driving yourself crazy, and all you're doing is you're wasting your precious energy on something that ultimately ends up not serving you, and you're not dealing with what's important, which is you. The word neglect is coming up. Perhaps some of you have been neglecting yourselves, and that can translate itself in many ways. It could come up as addictions, where you choose to take care of yourself in ways that ultimately don't serve you. For some of you, you are constantly tired, and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. For some of you, this is you constantly giving yourself away for the purpose of being or needing to be safe. So that's really interesting. We control our environment because we believe if we do, certain things won't happen. But that implies that you're expecting something to happen. So if you are not listening to your intuition, if you're not listening to your own voice, if you are not paying attention to what is inside of you, then you might want to experience what it's like to listen to that aspect of you. I feel many of you are going through times you would consider very important times of your lives. That could be marriage, divorce, graduation, new job, new career, birth, death, all those big pillars of our lives that we deem important. And for many of you, this denotes change. And change is coming. Change is always coming. But because I feel most of you on some level are in the process of reshaping your life, so you're going through transitions, and we all are. It affects people different way. So for those of you who are constantly moving around and keeping yourself busy, and you're constantly tired because that's what you're doing, you need to ask yourself a really important question. Why do I do that in the first place? You may realize that part of the reason why you do it, if you're being honest, is because you feel you need to be in control. And therefore, you take on a lot of things because that is what you believe. So, and the reason why I'm pulling on control is because you have the card delusion of control when I asked what's being triggered. So chances are in the month of December, certain things will come up in your life where the commonality will be around control. Either you're needing to be in control, you giving up control, you not wanting to be in control of your life, you letting somebody else take control of you. There is some fundamental stuff around control. Also, healing in crisis is a message that basically says, when we go through difficulties and we go through change, and we are all undergoing a massive change with regards to the energies we are experiencing, things will come up, and that's for certain, that you may need to face that you haven't wanted to face before, or that perhaps you didn't know was there. Point is, when this happens, it gives us the opportunity to find a way out by trying something different, a new approach perhaps. I'm being asked to give an example. Perhaps one of your things is you need to be in control because when you grew up, your life was utter chaos and you never felt in control. That then gave you the indication that you need to exert a lot of control. That way, when you are in control, life won't be chaotic. And then you move on with life and you create your existence. And let's say you're in a relationship and you end up being a control freak. Well, nobody likes to be with someone like that. But on the flip side of the coin is it takes a lot of effort for you to always needing to be in control. It stems from a place of fear. So you might in the next couple of months be faced with a situation where you realize a lot of what's happening is triggering you feeling control issues. You feel out of control. You're trying to control something and it's not working. There's something about feeling not in control. And you might notice that it has been a pattern of yours, and perhaps it's time to address this pattern. And let's say you ask yourself some questions, you realize where it comes from, and you choose to approach your relationship differently. Perhaps you decide that you are going to practice letting go of control. Perhaps you will let someone do their dishes. Perhaps you will let someone do their chores. Perhaps you won't be as eager to jump in and help when somebody is asking you for help because they're lazy and they don't want to do it themselves. In other words, let go of the steering wheel. The car is on autopilot. All right. So that is a drastic example of what that may look like. Obviously, that can be, this is one of many situations. So point is, when we get triggered and when stuff comes up, we then have the ability to look at things that are difficult, that are dark, let's say, that are our shadows, things that are uncomfortable, so that we can face it and let go of it. The moment we have a realization or a sense of awareness, what's going on, that's the moment we are effectively learning the lesson. And I don't know about you, but I believe we're here to have an experience in a physical body through felt perception. So it's not that we don't know, but we have not experienced certain situations. So in order for us to have that experience, we have to feel. In other words, we live in a world where feeling is the way we learn. So sounds like many of you have been going through a little bit of healing, crisis and purging, and some things may have been coming up. The good thing is that mental transformation is what is happening as a result. So I'm looking at the numbers here. He's asking me to pay attention. 9 and 4. I'm going to address each one. 9 to me is letting go. It is letting go of restrictions. It is letting go of control. It is letting go of certain entanglements that we have with people or things or vices or situations. It is about shifting and changing how we deal with things in the mind. The 4 represents to me stability and structure. So this is about you refining how you approach your life in terms of your thoughts. Your thoughts stem from your beliefs. Your beliefs come from are subconsciously driven. So you need to become aware of what some of your subconscious belief systems are. And the best way to look at it, the best way to find it, is to look at repeating patterns and things that seem to always come up for you, or things that you are struggle with, like, for example, control. And then see if you can find a different solution. Bottom, what does it say? Rock bottom is representing an end of the road, number 1, but it also represents addictions, doing things the same old, or choosing to constantly put yourself in a situation that ultimately doesn't serve you. It's like constantly banging your head against the wall, knowing it hurts, and you keep doing it. And then you're wondering, why do I have a headache? And someone says, well, because you're banging your head against the wall. And then you keep doing it. So that's a big metaphor, but I feel you get what I'm trying to say. It is also a message that says, if you are having difficulties in whatever you're dealing with, perhaps it is because you are trying to control the situation and you need to let go of control. So there's another control message here. Now, obviously, I'm not saying everybody is a control freak. You don't even have to be a control freak. You can be someone who is deathly afraid of having control. You can be, or to be in control. Or you're someone who gives control away, gives up control too easily. Or someone has control over you. I mean, there's various versions of the word control. Point is, you've come as far as you can with this situation. It's time to move on. And that can mean in various ways. It means you're moving on from a certain something or someone. It means that you could change the way you see yourself and start seeing yourself differently and start effectively putting forth new patterns by being consistent and being aware on what you think and how you behave. In other words, putting effort into shifting your perspective will yield tremendous results given time and effort. He showed me the number 9. So September for some of you, are you guys September? No. September, perhaps this situation for you has a beginning in September. Somehow September may be connected to the person you're dealing with. There's some September for some of you. But 9, of course, is letting go. Letting go also of control. And I think I've already said enough on that. I'm not going to overstate this. The self-sacrifice message to me is a bit of a warning, and that is some of you may be under the impression that your job is to sacrifice your life for some cause or for some karmic debt or whatever it is. And you sacrifice yourself in order to whatever that is. But the message is this: perhaps the nobility of sacrifice is something that you hide behind. Perhaps you sacrifice yourself because it's easier to focus on others than to focus on you. Because you don't have to face yourself then. You don't have to ask yourself questions. You don't have to take responsibility for you. You're busy doing things for other people. And I feel like some of you are hiding behind that. It's not a bad thing. It's what we learn. But it ultimately stems from a place of lack and a place of fear. Always. Some of you need to let go of the need to self-sacrifice. Particularly if you're a healer. And I've seen this, and I see this a lot with my clients. And I've experienced this with myself. In my experience, majority of people who do healing type work, particularly spiritual healing, come from a space of lack internally. And I will go as far as saying 95% of the people I have come in contact with in the last 15 years or so have a fundamental lack mentality when it comes to their subconscious belief. And when we get into healing arts or spiritual healing, we tend to overdo things because we believe our job is to heal people. Well, our job is not to heal people. Our job is to take care of ourselves and lead by example. So what I'm trying to say is, if this is you, if you have a tendency to hide behind your healing, to hide behind sacrificing yourself, perhaps it's because that you don't want to face yourself yet. And it's time to do that. It's really important. Poised is a message about a new beginning, but not being there yet. And particularly for those of you who come from a place of lack deep inside, particularly for those of you who are coming out of a relationship, a job, a situation, a commitment, it is important to shift your perspectives about you, because that is what you project out and that's how you create your reality. So presumably speaking, when you are leaving a cycle, shortly you will be beginning a new one. It is important for you to identify those blocks because you don't want to repeat the same pattern again. And that's why this is so important. I asked what areas are affecting you the most, or where this is affecting you the most. You have a lot of pentacles. You have 6 of pentacles and you have 10 of pentacles. So I feel a lot of it is around safety and security. No surprising. And you have 4 of swords in reverse. So there is some mental distress around safety and security. This could be emotionally, spiritually, but also financially in a relationship. And if you do come from a place of lack, you will have tendencies towards being controlling because you're trying to make sure you don't have lack. I think you guys know how this goes. I'm going to move on to the next message. because I feel like I've said all I can about the tarot cards. Peace is something that is, again, the number 9. For some of you, the number 9 is very, very important. The message of peace is simply that peace always comes from within. And in order for you to experience peace, sometimes you have to let go. You have to make some radical changes. You have to let go of control. You have to go through some crisis in order to experience a healing by facing your shadows, if you will. And complete surrender is a message that comes as well with the peace message. Surrender does not mean giving up. Surrender means you're choosing to no longer fight with whatever it is you're fighting with. Chances are it's not worth it, and chances are that's why you're stuck. So surrender doesn't mean giving up. It's hugely important. Sometimes it's surrendering, constantly fighting inside of yourself with something. Fighting yourself, whatever that is. I could go on and on with this, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. A lot of you will recognize this in terms of relationships with somebody else. Also your relationships to money. You may have been controlled in the past, and you may, as a result, be overspending because you're moving from one extreme to the next. You may have experienced growing up when there was not a lot of money, and you become very controlling. You control your husband with money even though he works, or you control your wife with money even though she works. Whatever that is, the control delusion is very, very important here. But I don't want to move on. I don't want to keep going. I'm just going to move on. And I do believe I've said all I can. So prepare for the month of December. Be a month of inner observation. And I've said this to many other signs, so if you listen to your other signs, chances are it'll feel very familiar. Of course, this can be applied to any life situation. This is general, so it's not going to apply to all of you. Do listen to it at a different time. But if there's anything that comes up over the next 2 months, let's say December, mid-January, notice if what you're dealing with internally is not connected to the idea of control, either having lack of control, fearing lack of control, being too controlled, whatever that is. Because I feel like you're just at the end, you're just at the verge of letting something go. It's the proverbial butterfly that was just released, and it tells me it's transformation. So many of you are at the apex of transformation, and I know it has been a while for some of you. I know that. But I also want to say the end is near. So with that said, I wish you best of luck. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this. I just heard, thank you for introducing me to somebody else. It's almost like some of you introduced me to a friend or a coworker. Thank you for that. I truly appreciate it. That's what I'm supposed to say that. Okay. And for that, you get box of chocolates. That's random. Of course, for private sessions, that information is down below. Thank you once again. Please do comment how this connects with you, and I wish you best of luck. Take care.